All right. So again, my name is Rachel, and I've been in Eastern Edge for a few years. I'm originally from Texas, but my mom's from Newfoundland. Oh, I'm sorry, eh?
I just wanted to ask, are people comfortable if I take pictures of slides that like I'll make sure to not get names and stuff?
Yes, and I'm going to email it.
Okay.
I'll email it, I'll send it out, and it will also live on the website with the recording as well.
Okay, thanks.
All good here. Any publicity is good publicity, except don't get me arrested.
We're behaving, we're doing good things here. We are learning about our bios. Only good here. What was I saying? So this is my most recent one, and it's very short. It says, situated in Ucumgu, Newfoundland, Rachel Gilbert is an interdisciplinary artist who explores her identity, experiences, and ideas of home. Since receiving a BFA in visual arts in 2020, excuse me, my allergies drive me nuts. That spring is in the air. A graduate certificate in museum and gallery studies in 2021, Rachel has worked with several local art spaces focusing on community programming, equity, and education. That is the one. I used to have a really long one, and I've just kind of trimmed it down with time. That is definitely on the shorter side, which is fine. There's no, typically for an artist bio, we're floating around 120 words, usually 150 to 250. And whenever I'm writing one or I'm reading these artist bios that people send in, I guess you have to think, imagine you're submitting to a call with your artist bio and your CV and your proposal, and say, you know, Eastern Edge earlier this year, we had like over 300 submissions for residencies, main galleries, and it's a lot to go through. And as you know, I love reading through everybody's submission package. But typically with an artist bio, think of it like an elevator pitch. You got 60 seconds. You know, you're walking to the museum, you're going downstairs, the curator hops on last second, and they're like, oh, you're an artist, tell me about yourself. 60 seconds. That is your artist bio, basically. And, you know, it's definitely a bit more formal than like an artist statement. It's usually third person, not always, but, you know, it's pretty flexible. But for the most part, you know, it's third person, you're talking about yourself. Let me see here real quick. Yeah, mostly third person, and it's updated with time. And anybody can have an artist bio, your musicians, your visual artists, your thespians, and you know, it's just basically real quick, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it? Next page. And on the most basic level, it's your name, where you're based, any key themes or techniques you're working with, what kind of medium you're working with, but not as in-depth as like a statement would be. And a statement, you know, I mean, that changes a lot too, and that can change per exhibition, per body of work. This is a bit more static. So overall, what kind of themes and techniques do you like to do? Your related education, and some people go all out with that part. Some people don't. Some people, you know, you end up having a lot of education. You want to list it all, but you don't have to. Try to list, you know, your most recent, your primary, like I did my BFA here, my master's here. And even if I did a bunch of schooling all in between, I might just list the most recent one. Your most recent and your best achievements. I got a Canada Council grant last year. I got this SHRC grant 3 years ago. So you can list a couple of things. I like to float around 2 or 3 things, like for each thing. My volunteering, like I'm on this board. I went to school here and here. I did these 2 other things, and floating around 5 or 6 is pretty good. On the other hand, one second, I'll totally forget my thought. On the other hand, if you are writing an artist bio and you only have one educational place to put down, one workshop or certification, or none, that's okay, because then you're just beefing it up with more things about you artistically or any other things that you've done. Oops, let me see real quick. And any other fact that sets you apart from others. There's another note later in this slide. With an artist bio, yes, I mean, it's really tempting to be like, I did this and this and won all these awards, and I'm really great at this. Even if you Google artist bio examples, you'll see some, and they may say, John is a painter who's one of the most skilled in his technique of oil painting, or Susie is the greatest ceramic artist on the West Coast. Try to avoid that kind of stuff because, what is it? Hyperbolic praise, I think, is the word I was looking at earlier, which I don't think that's how that's pronounced. But what's your question there?
And heads up, I live with wicked ADHD, so I totally get the whole keep going with your thoughts, like get to me whenever you can. Not to say that you have ADHD, just I
do. It's relatable. Okay, I understand.
Okay. I've been wondering about, like, especially with the Holdfast application, but in general, there's like 3 things that I've done that I'm not like, I can't really share an example of it. So say, like, I know that you and me have worked on the unconscious bias project, like the end product of that. Yeah. I'm not going to be able to send a link, or like, because it's, you know, a private thing for businesses. And then I've been published in 2 different, like a magazine and a book. So I'm not even sure that I can take a picture of that and send it. Like, I have to kind of figure out the legality of that. But like, do you have any tips about what to do when you're unsure or you can't actually Yeah,
I know what you mean. For the unconscious bias thing, like, even if the final product ends up in someone else's hands, it's still your work.
Right.
So, yes, I would still say you can still put it in there. I feel like maybe with that kind of thing, it could be more of a CV kind of thing, but there's nothing wrong with putting it in a bio, as in, I've written, or A has written for this, this, and this. And you could expand on it, as in, here's this thing I wrote for, which will be used for a blank. And then you can leave it at that, or you can expand further.
And so that gives a sense of why I haven't given a link, or because it's not really my information anymore to be able to share in a way.
Even still, I mean, like, I'm going to share it however I can, which is basically, I like to take screenshots of stuff. Anytime I've done something online or an interview of something, even if I can't have the actual file, I screenshot it, which is helpful for when you're doing your bio and CV later.
Yeah.
And for your reference years down the road, I did this, you know, but it's still your creative property.
Okay. And even I did a review for Riddle Fence, so that would still be my creative property.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yep.
That's still in a CV and in an artist bio. You know, I mean, a writer would have an artist bio and they would list, I wrote in this and this and this, but on a vague level. Like, I wrote, has written for Riddle Fence a couple times and has written for theater in this capacity. And so it can be vague but specific, which is not helpful in a statement.
No, but you name it, but you don't necessarily need to show it in the way that, you know, these days it's always like, if you have a link, send it kind of thing, or, you know, whereas I feel like that can go in your support material, but also you have the choice to expand in your CV when you list that thing, which typically the bio and CV would usually, that's kind of going to exist together in a space, not always. But I like to think of the bio as a supplement to the CV. Here's the quick summary. Let's get more in depth in our CV. But yeah, that's creative property. So you could talk about that in your artist bio. Thank you. Oh yeah. I'm gonna try to slow down and realize that I might be talking a bit fast. And that's just because I'm excited. Here are some I increase my pitch and my speed the more excited I get. Here are 2 oldies of mine. This would have been this year and last year. So it's pretty much the same template. Rachel Gilbert, which not all artist bios have to start with your name. Some people put in their pronouns, some don't. What do we see here? So the first sentence is pretty much laying out, here's my name, this is where I am, really basic. Here's the stuff I work with in this one, and my themes are all in here in this one sentence. Here is education, achievements, and experience, all down here. And then I like to end, I like doing this, or what I'm kind of currently doing now, and you'll see that example later. A lot of bios end with
Rachel is currently, or she's currently based in doing this, which you can end anyway. It could end just right here and not have this last sentence. But yes, see, it's pretty vague. The rooms, St. Michael's, Eastern Edge, but I'm not really saying I've done this specifically. Let me see. This one is way back, so it's a bit longer. There's more details here. We still have the basic thing here. We have our education. It's a bit higher up. Here's some more themes here. And of course, again, like maybe in the fall, I'm working with this theme. In the winter, I'm working with this other theme. I'm going to change my artist bio. And even if you submit to a call in the fall and you're accepted, and that starts in September, I mean, it's only like for Eastern Edge, for example, we'll ask, do you have an updated bio? Do you have an updated statement? And that is what we'll use instead. So don't worry about changing it all the time. I've gone through probably about 11 in the past 4 years. So it's okay. So yeah, this one I'm not a big fan of. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with going into some more detail with these. But especially with time, as you do more and more things, I would be less likely to list out, I'm the design assistant. I did this committee. I did this internship specifically because I would want to fit in some other achievements to meet my word count without going over it. And so you could totally scrap these details like this. And this is the most recent thing. So it's like adding a bit of spice, like Salt Bae. A bit of spice at the end of the artist bio. It's just, oh, by the way, I'm also this. And so it's kind of a nice close there. But technically, this is the last sentence. Lives and works out of St. John's. Now this is this the one that's way back? Oh my gosh, there's so many. This is all one bio. And, you know, I'll show you some of my coworkers now. And 1 to 2 paragraphs is it. Pretty good. Once you start getting to 3 or 4, it's kind of a lot. Remember, elevator pitch, 60 seconds. So again, born this and this. I guess I'm separating between general information in the first paragraph and the more recent work here. The only thing with this most recent body of work. Okay, so what I've done here is kind of made this a statement bio hybrid. This was for 4th year. My 4th year graduating show work. And so that's what I'm referencing here. But you could do away with this and go into more detail on the kind of work you do. And so this is fine too, right? Especially if you're a recent grad, here's my one education. Let me talk some more about what I do. And so that is also another good example. So I've got a couple templates here. Patricia. This is probably the most standard one, the standard template. There's another one here. I'm going to come back to that one. This one is your typical, here's my name, here's what I am, here's where I am. And so my name is Sally. I'm a painter. I'm based in Toronto. So feel free to, remember, I'm going to send this out, but you can totally screenshot this. They earned, here's education, school, self-taught. You put that around the beginning. What you spend your days doing, if you have any professional affiliations, like representation, or if you volunteer. Any awards or milestones, exhibitions, any other kind of special features. I mean, you want to promote yourself, right? And in a way that is humble, as I mentioned earlier, I'm the best artist in the West. You wouldn't put that in here, right? For more detailed information, visit here, here, and here. I don't usually see too many artist bios overall that have visit this website or visit my social media. Here's my email. Usually, you know, it's either separately on the same sheet of paper, say somewhere else, like if it's your CV, it's at the top. If you're doing a proposal package, you could put that in there under your contact info, right? So it can go in here, but for the most part, typically this kind of thing lives elsewhere.
I'm just wondering where, and I know it might be specific per application, like the organization, art gallery, whatnot, how progressive for the bio in terms of things like I'm spending most of my time single parenting, and like I know if I applied to like a nonprofit organization, like doing community work, and some of those they would accept that as like experience in your resume, your CV, your bio is like, and that feeds into my work, but I don't know this world as well in terms of, is it, you know, do they give credence and credibility value to that or not? And should I just leave it out?
And that's another thing too. When I mean like I'm changing it 11 times, it's usually because of where I'm sending it.
Yeah.
Right. A place like Eastern Edge. Yeah. I mean, we talk to artists about being parents and, you know, working with them on that. Also too, if you have your bio and you feel like I could submit this to Eastern Edge, but maybe not this other place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess, you know, be aware of the place. Honestly,
great filter sometimes.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes. But at the same time, if you're applying for something you don't know, I suppose. Sometimes you can tell the places, yes.
Yeah. But there is if it was like not done at all, then I'd have to think more about that. But if it is kind of like think about it with the organization, that tells me a lot. So that's helpful feedback.
Yes, I would think about even with your CV, you know, and mine changes 100 times too. And it's where am I applying? What am I going to be doing? What do I want to highlight to these people that will make them want to pick me or work with me or whatnot? And so, yeah. But yeah, it can be a filter. Right.
Well, I typically include it as like I talk about my intersectionality, which is like multiple upon multiple. So it's kind of one of these like, and that's another piece that people don't often think about, but is, you know, so then it's almost like in the middle. So it's not as kind of, yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yes. I don't at any point, let me know, like, I don't want to take up a lot of space.
Oh, no, please. That's fine. Cause I'm ripping through it. It's okay.
Awesome.
I got another question here from B. What about an artist that is new to sharing their art with the community? Someone that hasn't done much publicity without grants, etc. Yes, this is really lovely. Thank you. I love the template. Thank you guys. Sorry, I'm just catching up to the chat here. You know, the thing is too, with early career arts and stuff, remember that typically we're applying to, when we look at your CV and we look at your bio and your package, we know you're an early career artist. And at Eastern Edge, I'll tell you quite honestly, we don't prioritize CVs. Sometimes I don't look at the CV. If it's a job, yes, I'm looking at the CV. But for residency and exhibitions, the CV is not the first thing I'll look at. I look at the artwork. And then I go to find out about you. And then I'll go look at your CV. Oh, they've shown here and here. That's lovely. But in terms of a bio for early career, then you would do, I'm going to close this. I would spend more time talking about your work, like here. Even if you say, I'm an early career artist, and you can say in here, Rachel Gilbert is an early career artist, a newly established artist, an emerging artist. So you can say that in your bio to clarify that. You can say, you know, early career, just starting, self-taught, scrap all this, and go right into talking about yourself. And even what you want to do, like is interested in becoming more involved with the community to support this, and do this, and, you know, get into more art that does this. So it doesn't have to be, I wouldn't think of it as like, you know, it doesn't have to be this big achievement thing. For me, like, I just want to know about you and what you like to do, to be quite honest, is what I'm looking at when I look at an artist bio. So yes, even as an early career artist, talk about what you like, acknowledge that you're an early career artist and be proud about it. I can understand how that can have its own set of challenges coming into the community, but much publicity. You know, you got to start somewhere, you know what I mean? And you write it, you get it out there. There's not that much pressure going on a bio. Let me see. You know, brag about yourself. It's okay to do a bit of bragging. You know, this is my art. I like to do it because of this. So this is that first template. Let's look at the second one.
So you're saying to add a bit of your personality and make sure they know who you are.
In the
bio. In the bio.
Yes.
Yes, not in the CV.
No.
Okay.
Which some people, I'll show you too. Like some people put the bio in the CV. And
yeah, a bit of both.
Yes.
Have it into two sections, one piece of paper for them to look at.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look at, I'll pull up our residency submission page so you can see. Okay. But yes, this is like, if you were doing a submission and they want your CV and your image list and your proposal, what you got to do is one PDF. I like to put my name, my info, bio, bam.
Done.
Proposal, a statement. I mean, you could put the statement before the proposal if they ask for it, but proposal, then CV, get into it, and the image.
Clean, it's to the point. They get to see it all.
That's right.
Okay.
And it kind of sets up, for when I look at your work, if I don't look at it first, which I usually do.
Thank you.
Here's this other one. So I like this one because it doesn't start with your name, which is fine. It can start with your name. Working predominantly with XYZ, artist, contributing artist, and full name. So, okay, artist, and has been able to contribute their takes on themes. I mean, yeah, I'm okay with this one. I like it. Ongoing practice, last name. And some people are a bit nitpicky on, so say you say, like this one, my name is Allie Sue. And if I'm saying they or she, some people are like, don't say they or she too much. Put their last name instead of saying pronouns, right? I guess it depends. If I was submitting somewhere more formal, like Christina Parker, a commercial gallery versus an artist run center, sure, I may use Gilbert, a couple of she's, but not as many. But also, that'll come a bit organically when you write it, how long you write it. If you feel like I have 1,000 Gilberts, let me put in a few she's here, that's fine. Yeah, this template's all right. Most known for blank, blank, blank. Has occupied a number of physical spaces, including blank, 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 leading to blank, blank, blank. So, and you know what? I mean, every time I write an artist bio, I look at Google, just because there's so many different kinds of templates and examples that you can pull pieces from or do a couple of drafts with as you make your own.
So it wouldn't be weird for me to use Squirrel's World instead of my full name?
If it's your artist name.
Yep.
I mean, I had an artist. What was her name? I don't know. Material Trash or something. And that was their name in the artist bio.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
So you could put your name, your artist name, your pen name, whatever name you would be working with.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah, or exhibiting on there. Yes. Another important thing is art jargon. And, Eastern Edge is, we're all about accessibility and language, and not everybody has a master's or a formal education, and English is not always everybody's first language. So I try to advocate for when you're writing these kinds of things like bios and statements, you don't know who's going to read it or where it may end up sometimes, right? Especially through all the networking that is the art world. And I like to keep my language nice and neat and simple. Let me see here. This one is okay. I mean, if you go to Google, you'll see some, and it's like an art history text. Their artist bio, which isn't necessarily, I mean, it's not that it has to be this jump up and down exciting passage, but if you're promoting yourself and, getting your name out there, you want it to be something that people enjoy reading and are able to read. So I try to keep the art speak turned down, keep it pretty neutral, just like I was talking to anybody on the street, right? So it is good to be accessible. Again, here's the note on the humble thing here. Yes, we're promoting ourselves and our practice, but we keep it kind of a bit more neutral than this, the best painter ever. And again, you don't have to list everything. That's what our CVs are for. I like to start with a free write. I'm not looking at my grammar. I'm not looking at my caps lock. I'm not looking at anything like that. And I'm just writing what comes to mind, even if there's silly stuff. And I'll do this for my essays, and I'll write down stuff whatever comes to my mind as I'm trying to come up with a bio. Even if, like, I've legit typed out, I don't like writing bios, and that's great. Whatever you're doing in your draft it out, simplify, get rid of the self-help talk in your free write, and let people read it. Let somebody look over it. Good writer or not a good writer, sometimes you miss stuff. We all miss stuff. We're only human. And another thing to remember is that the Eastern Edge team and myself, we don't have choosing power on any of the applications that come in, which is good because it allows us to help people with their writing and their submission process. So at any time, even if you just, you're not submitting to us, you're submitting somewhere else, you want to go over your text and your proposal package, you can send it to us and we can do that with you. What time is it? Really quick. Does it say 1:42? Ah, no way. Okay, let me keep going. I was going to do a break, but I think I only got an hour, don't I? Real quick. I think the other ones were a bit longer, yes. Really quick, curriculum vitae is short for course of life. Your resume is more of a summary. Sometimes I will be thinking, what's the difference between a resume and a summary? I like a curriculum vitae for more artistic practice kind of culture work. It really depends. Some people, and for the arts and stuff, most people are asking for a CV versus other kind of job areas might ask for a resume. The CV, of course, it's focusing on your art career. It should be neat and organized, and again, with like the length of your statement in your bio. Say the place of reading has 100 applications. Sweet, simple, and to the point with a CV is pretty good. Less is more. Not everything's going to look the same. You're going to be updating this all the time. Ideally 2 pages long at a maximum 3. Like on your website, say you have a CV and you got, by the end of it, there's 5 pages. Put it on your website, that's fine. But if you're submitting to a call, try to keep the most relevant information. If I'm submitting to, say, Michael's for a print residency, I don't know if I need all of the workshops I did on painting and drawing, right? If that's going to cut down a page, sure. I don't know if I might take away, here's this writing that I did for this and this. I might take it away, right? Keep the awards. That's pretty good, I guess. It is good if you have it, I suppose.
What is a print residency?
A print residency is like St. Michael's upstairs from Eastern Edge, for example. Like yes. They have a print residency that's called the Don Wright Scholarship. And that's a 1-year-long residency. And no different than an Eastern Edge one. But the print.
You live with them, or?
Accommodation is on site, but you can be in there. Like right now, Margaret is their current. Margaret, I'm totally forgetting the last name. And Margaret's been here, going to be here for a year. Stays elsewhere in the city, but is always in St. Michael's, hosts a workshop or 2, has an artist talk, and gets to use the studio and have an exhibition at the end of it. So it's just like an artist residency where like Eastern Edge get to use the space. Some residencies have exhibitions and some don't. And all different residencies have different things. But I'll pull that up.
So there's different places that do this?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. And a lot of different art centers and galleries have different opportunities. There is a website, if you don't know, called Akimbo. 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 And that is the place for, here, I'm going to put it in the chat.
Okay.
That is the place for calls for artists and different things happening around Canada.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, some international stuff. I'm always looking at that. I'm gonna show. Okay, full name, reborn, relive and work, education. Separate your solo and your group exhibitions. and your residencies are their own section. Awards and grants, I usually put that in the same thing. Notable collections, if somebody or say the National Gallery has your work, you put it here. Any press and the bibliography is if other people have done work about you. Like if they've written a review on your work, you can put that there. And also if you've done writing as well. Honestly, let's take a look at mine because the best thing to do is to look at one.
That's good. I have reviews on my works because I have a fan down in the North Jersey area, and she's after buying 2 different paintings off of me now, a big one and a smaller one.
Oh, come on.
And she's given me a review. She wrote up a review for me. It was fantastic.
And you would put that on there.
Okay. Like added to the CV?
Yeah, like you could put that in. Sorry, I'm going to lie down on my bed because I've got...
Okay, get comfortable, girl.
I have a bad back.
All right.
Chair is not cooperating.
So glad you're taking care of yourself. That's like also really important to your bio because we're human beings.
Exactly. I'm lying down. Really quick, I'm seeing a chat here from B, also relating to being an early career artist. Have anything to offer on my CV because I'm so inexperienced publicly. B, that's okay. I've had CVs that are only half a page long. And you know what? Again, like, let me pull up the website. Say you're looking at, how can I minimize you guys without losing all you? There you go. Oopsie. If your CV is only half a page long, okay, that's what it is. That's okay. Because people understand if you're new. Now, if you're submitting to somewhere, you know, say I make a package and I submit it on my own to, there's a gallery in town called Leighton Gallery. It's a commercial gallery. And I got 2 things on my CV and 1 exhibition. They may not take you because for them as a commercial gallery, they want that income too, right? As well as promoting you. So don't get offended. You know, it depends on what you're doing. For me, like doing residencies at Eastern Edge, I'm almost half excited to see someone with a short CV because to me, the residency is an opportunity for someone to learn and build up that CV, right? So it does depend on what you're doing. But don't worry if it's only a page or half a page. If that's the case, here, let me show you this one. Oopsie, it's hectic. What's happened there? Shoot. If that's the case, if you feel like you don't have a lot, then you can do what I did on this one here. Zoom, can you scoot over? And you can do this, which this looks more like a resume perhaps. But again, there's kind of no right and wrong. There is kind of a standard for CV. So here I'm just filling a picture, a space, I'm sorry. I'm filling some space here with my picture information. Typically, you don't put a picture, okay? Like, that's more of a resume workforce business kind of thing. It's neither here nor there, but this, ideally, I don't even remember what I was submitting this for, but this would go up here. So you can take up some space with your bio, and then you can put a couple other things at the bottom. And if it's 1 page like this, short and simple, sure, that's the way it is, and that's okay. We look at mine really quick. This is, you know, I only put that there so I can try to keep up with all the versions. But you don't have to put that. You would put my name, and you can put your address. You don't have to. Usually, it doesn't really matter anymore. We've got email, and so I do like to put my contact info, my phone, my email. Typically, I won't put a bio in here in the CV itself because if we go over here really quick, this is our residency submissions page. The next deadline is fall 2023, by the way. But this is your thing here. So you would do your proposal. It's only short, 500 words, or you can film it. Your statement, your CV, see max 2 pages is kind of where we're floating around. and your statement and your bio. So even here, like we're not specifically asking for a bio, but you can put it there. That's okay. It can go next to your statement, or you can put it in the beginning of your CV, unless specified other. Like if there was a separate bullet here for your bio, it doesn't have to go in your CV. 10 images, stable availability. So this is short and simple, an example of an application, you know, not like for a job. Really quick, I can't see you guys and I can't see the chat, so feel free to unmute yourself if there's a question. But this, I just want to run through these other bios really quick. So this is Ashley, our boss right now. Again, starting with the name, here's your schooling, what kind of art they like doing, and some of the more recent experience. Amanda's is a longer one, but also keep in mind the formatting on our website is a little bit strange. So this could exist as 2 paragraphs, maybe from Amanda's currently would be its separate paragraph. So Amanda's goes on here and she talks a lot. Hers is more personal in a way, actually. Like right here, her interest in fine arts began as a child when she was inspired by a bright and motivated art teacher. What else here? The connection between art and community and the healing power of both is what motivates her work at an artist-run center. And she likes this and this and this. And so that's also fun because you know what that does too? It kind of makes it more personable. Everybody has different styles. Amanda is a really personable person, very bubbly and light if you haven't met her. So this bio for me it speaks to Amanda pretty good. This is my short and simple one. Laura's is also short and simple. And as you can see, we're all kind of starting with her name, and that's fine. Philippa starts with her name. She has 2 paragraphs. Yeah, hers is kind of, it's all kind of mixed in. And there's not necessarily an order. Like you can list your education down here and your art up here, or vice versa. This is a nice short one. Aoife is a singer, so here's that kind of example. So even as a singer, it's still kind of the same, it's the same kind of format, you know. Charlotte's and Joe's. Some are long, some are sweet. For me, typically your CV, it is your education at the beginning. Say you don't have that, okay, that's fine. I wouldn't go, say you're an older artist and you're getting back into your arts, et cetera, et cetera. I wouldn't go back to high school if you didn't have any post-secondary because, yes?
Sorry to interrupt you. Can I mention that I won a literacy award when I turned 30? Because when I turned 30, I had to go back to school and I went and done culinary upgrading. I did upgrading and then I done culinary arts. But I won a literacy award because I had to start at the beginning of my English. I had to do the full 12 years, she said. And I did it in 6 months once she figured out a key to my learning. It was very successful management of how I read and wrote. Still can't spell, but I can write and read and I can do up a business proposal and whatever I needed to do.
I would put that in here.
Yeah.
I mean, these are 2018. It doesn't matter how far back. So long as it's like, in terms of starting your professional career, which is anytime after high school. So anything after high school, you can put that in.
Right. It was the start of my journey to sobriety. I started to want more for life and whatnot. So I went back to school. And,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so you can start it at that point.
Okay.
If you started at another point, that's fine. But typically after high school area. You can put your awards in here. Awards and grants can be the same kind of thing. Yeah, even if it's not directly related to visual arts, like this isn't directly related to visual arts. It's just an achievement, basically. Awards and achievements. My exhibitions are at the bottom. And this is I haven't had a solo exhibition, so I haven't specified whether it's a group or solo exhibition, but typically, you'll have a section for solo and a section for group. I just put it all together because it looks a bit better, and that's okay too, because I specify group exhibition in each one. Residencies. Now, if I was applying to the residency at St. Michael's Print Shop or at Eastern Edge, for a residency, I would want to put education is fine, but I would probably only put the most recent thing and the BFA and the certificate, like school, just to kind of reduce it, because then I'm going to want to put my residencies, exhibitions, and special projects like that. I'm going to want to bump that up, especially if I have a 2-page residency. I want my residencies on the first page. So that's what I mean about this is always kind of changing. It's depending on where it's going. Let me check the chat really quick. But yes, B, I hope that, it's a bit of a tangent, but I hope that answers your question, because yes, even it's okay if your CV is not 8 pages long, right? And for me, like the best way to fit it into the 2-page bracket or the 1-page window is I'm seeing a lot of CVs that are just, here's what it is, here's the year, and I'm listing it really simple like this. Now, when it comes to like the experience section, if I'm applying for a job at Eastern Edge, I might, instead of listing like for an exhibition, 1 thing per line, I'm probably gonna take this and space it out and put in maybe a 50-word max description of what this even is. Because especially if I'm applying somewhere in Vancouver, and what's the Eastern Edge, you know what I mean? So yes, depending on what you're doing, a 50-word description is pretty good. And like project lead, like that's pretty vague. So by rights, I ought to go in there and try to beef that up a little bit. But like on a website, this is typically also what you would see on an artist's website. It's just listing everything out. And let me go to my other one. Experience, awards, residencies, special projects, which is kind of like if like you could put the unconscious bias thing here. I would consider that a special project. For me, that would go in here. I did a illustration in magazine. That's going under a special project. So it's kind of vague, but it can kind of fit in all that kind of stuff. Membership, boards, volunteering. I'm a member at Eastern Edge. I'm a member at the Writers Alliance. That all goes in here. It doesn't have to be the word membership. It could be volunteering or affiliations, depending on what you have more of. I'm reading the question in the chat. B, I've done. You know what? Yes, it can be very intimidating, especially when you look at my silly old long thing. But this is, let me see. And sometimes this would be too much to people, right? Like they would be like, okay, well, you can get rid of the special projects and some of that membership stuff because it's going way back. But you don't have to, you know what I mean? It's good to keep a template for yourself that has everything, even if it's not related. So you can copy and paste. It's okay if you don't have art specific training, especially at Eastern Edge, because we create like a rubric for our selection team, and we ensure that they know that yes, not everybody has a formal education and or has an art background at all. So not to put so much focus on these documents, because really what matters for us is what work are you making? Are you going to benefit from the time to do a residency or an exhibition? And, what kind of ideas do you have that you want to get out there? That's what matters to us. And for most places, quite honestly. The rubric, tangent. We're actually still working on it. I wish I had it on my computer. The rubric is talking about equity and accessibility in terms of language and you know, where people are coming from and what they're working with. I'm going to try to find the rubric document, and I'll probably also include that in the slideshow that I upload and email to you guys next week. The rubric is just, you know, goes along with our mandate, and that is that, you know, totally opposite from a commercial space, basically, to summarize. I'm reading Bay's comment here. I have done one gala recently, and that would be my experience. That's okay. And listen, like, even when I first started out as an artist, like, yes, I had a CV that was more like a resume, and I put some other not related work experience just to show that, yes, I'm out in the community working and whatnot. But that was at the bottom, and any of the artsy stuff I had was at the top, underneath my artist bio that helps fill up the page, right? That is, there are little tips and tricks, okay? And again, honestly, email us any of your questions and your drafts, because that's what we're here for. This here, I want to put this in the chat. There's a group called the Indigenous Curatorial Collective. I think they're on a little bit of a hiatus right now. I could be wrong. I'm sorry, how long have you had your hand up?
It's all good. Did you want to finish and then I can ask, or?
Sure, really quick.
You're talking about the Indigenous, because I'm interested in that.
Yes, this is the Indigenous Curatorial Collective, or Indigenous Activists Collective. Let me see. They were around a lot more, and then I think they had a mass exodus of staff. Please pardon my inability to spell. Curatorial Collective? No, because that's here in town. Yes, that is what it's called. Okay, ICCA. And they have all kinds of resources on their website. But I'm going to put this in the chat. This is their example for a artist CV. Can you please open full screen? Thank you. So there's this kind of resume-y, which is also fine, in that they put the skills there too. Usually on an artist CV, you won't really see skills. That's very, you know, more resume job market kind of thing that you can put on your CV. There's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? Again, there has to be the awareness of where you're applying and what you're applying to in terms of, is this relevant to put on here or not? But this is pretty much good. See, it is just a short description here. So let me just put this in the chat. But this is from these folks here. And they're great. See you, Tangine. Hi, Dad. I totally forgot this is supposed to end at 2:00, but that's okay. Here's this document, which if it opens or it doesn't open, I'll just send it out via email too. I wanted to kind of get some more CV examples, but I didn't want to just use people's stuff in a way. But here's that. Whoa. What's your question there?
I'm just wondering, with the Holdfast application, is it the type of thing where when doing the CV, it'd be better just to have like the title of the place and the name of the job and not give as much detail about what you did?
Yeah.
Okay, because one of the things, go ahead. Yep.
Oh no, for those who don't know, Holdfast is a contemporary arts festival that we have every summer. We have a call for featured artists out that's due the 14th, but Monday morning is fine. So there's a public festival in August. Oops, there goes my phone. And this is the call that is that, Google that Holdfast. If you haven't, on our website, it'll pop up. It's pretty fun to check out. There'll be more news coming from that. But basically, as a featured artist, you're gonna be hosting a workshop, and I guess there'll be some kind of talk or mingling event, and you'll have some kind of public event when the festival happens. So yeah, I mean, we typically on a CV for that, then I would prioritize any other public programming you've done or any other community work that you've done. Even if it's not art related, you can put that in your memberships community work section. And any other art, even like the unconscious bias thing, even though it's more of a theater thing, it just shows, you know what I mean? So yes, I would.
What about a YouTube blog? I do a daily YouTube blog.
Oh, okay, that could be a special project. What's it about?
It's about me and my daily life, about what I do for managing my peace. I show people my garden, my yoga, my paintings. I've often done live paint pours. I've done lots of different like motivational moments.
And I would put it under a special project.
Okay.
If you put it in your CV, which is fine.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would put it under special projects because if I saw that, to me, it would say, okay, especially like, you know, there's going to be some level of, like for the Hold Fast call, there's a lot of publicity going on and there's a lot of public programming and there is some video online stuff. So that to me would say, okay, this person knows how that video world works.
Yes.
And is engaging with the public in some capacity.
Absolutely.
So yes, that would be fine.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Yeah. Hey, did that answer your question? Did I answer your question?
Yes. And I have a more detailed question, but if you had time at the end, I can ask it then. So, because it's more in relation to like me, which might be helpful for others, but I just want to like, you keep moving.
Oh, that's okay. Let me see the chat real quick. Monica's gone. Bye, Monica. B has a question, also Hold Fast related. Hold Fast is why I'm registered. I don't have a public professional profile. Administrative. So I hope this can give me some tools to help the administrator. Yes. And B, let me put my email in the chat because I feel like we could talk about this individually as well and work on this, and we can write one up together. Eastern, and same for you, A, and anyone else here. I'm gonna just put my email here. Eastern Edge Studio is my work email at gmail.com. So you email me and we can set up a time. But you know, I don't have a public profile, and that's okay. That, you know, if you're applying for the Hold Fast or wherever, and you don't have a huge presence online or publicly, that's fine, because for us, we love supporting new artists, and it's okay to expand the pool of known artists, right? There's always newcomers coming. I'm always talking to newcomer artists from Ukraine or wherever, and we love bringing them down, and everybody from smaller communities in town. There's a couple of folks I'm trying to get to come visit, but Elijah, who is the festival coordinator for Hold Fast, is, you know what Elijah's thing is? Elijah wants people to have fun in a nice, safe environment, of course. But that is what our priority is, as well as helping the community experience art and new artists. So it's okay if you submit a proposal that's not super long, full of all this experience. Really what matters is, what do you want to do with us as an artist, and the pictures and videos of your artwork, if that is the case. And let's also keep in mind, not everywhere does this, but a lot of art spaces are starting to accept video proposals, which is an accessibility thing too, right? And not everybody's all about the typing or, you know, language, whatever. Exactly. I like doing video submissions sometimes as well. So that is also fine to do.
Thanks.
But professional profile. B, it's okay. It's gonna be fine. A, do you want to ask your more detailed question? Maybe it's related.
Sure. So I have a CV that I already feel is like too long in general for my nonprofit, like more like community office work, counseling work, that kind of thing, which is, and some of it will be quite relevant to the Holdfast stuff, but it's long. And then I've also got an artist CV that's like about 2 pages long. So like, I don't want to overwhelm people, but I also want to make sure, like, especially because I'm emerging and people don't know me, and it is really important. Like, I've worked in the disability community for over 10 years, and that's a huge piece of what I'm bringing in and thinking about. And especially if, accessibility is a piece that's now being thought about with the festival as well. But I mean, if I got a CV that was like 13 pages long, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, so
yeah, that's true.
yeah, I don't know how to, and like, I've lived and worked in 3 different countries. So like, so like, there might be something that doesn't sound relevant, like admin assistant or whatever, but I did it in Scotland. So then it's like, all those pieces kind of, yeah, which is why I'm still stuck with a 10-page one that I send out in general for jobs. Cause I have ADHD. I don't know how to prioritize. So.
I have a hard time narrowing down my, like,
I'm 49. Like, I've had over 50 jobs.
That's right. Exactly. And, that is understood. And like, I mean, I've had people send in CVs that has like literally everything all the way back to like their first high school job. I'm just not going to read the whole thing.
For sure. Yeah.
Right.
And this is more like what's relevant, because I can't put all, but like,
yes,
still, because some of it's like, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Employment facilitator with Inclusion NL. Like, unless I actually give you some, and that was almost all like creating, developing, and facilitating workshops that were like brand new information nobody had done before about supporting employers to hire and design for people with disabilities as customers and employees. So like, but you're not going to get that from the title, or even like a thing or two. Like, yeah. So
even if the description is 2 sentences and very, very short, some people do bullet descriptions.
Right. Well, because I do like all the different tasks like that were important in the job, and they're all different bullet points, but like, maybe, I'll try to go down and see if I can narrow that through.
Yes. And we can do that later too. If you want to email me, and we can time. Okay. But I know it's hard sometimes, because I mean, it's hard to sometimes pick what not to include. You know what I mean? But no, I mean, you're not going to get any, flack for sending in a 13-page long thing. I'm probably just going to stop at page 2.
And that's okay. Or like, just look at the headlines or something. But as long as because some people just like throw it in the garbage and like, that's too much.
No, which, Yes, which means that you would want to have your most relevant stuff on the first 2 pages.
Yes.
Basically, especially the first page if you can.
Yeah.
Because that's fine. Even if it's 3 pages, 5 pages.
Okay.
1 page. Sometimes I've only looked at the first half of the page, because it's for something where work experience or exhibition experience wasn't as huge of a deal for what they were, and so yes, it's all of them are different, but there does seem to be a lot of the kinds that I showed you that was mine, which let me just put that in here, just the black and white, no picture of yourself, not really the skills part, but you can put your bio in there. Let me put this one in there. So this is the most decent. I've got that other guide in there. Yeah, I do like the ICCA one. I do. But I could see this being more for workforce versus exhibition or residency kind of stuff, right?
Now for this thing on the 14th coming up, so can I do up a video and send it to this email to apply?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna put the link for the Holdfast call specifically in the chat. There is
thanks.
Yeah. But you can do the video.
Squirrels World, the 14th piece it was May 14th, and now it's like tomorrow